Look around, see who's swimming in this ocean of devotion with you. This magnificent sea of divinity. Look at these beings who were called out this morning to celebrate life with you, to celebrate the divine presence that's in you and is you. Cover them with the mighty blessing and receive the blessing that you're now being covered by. And look at one of those sweet beings sitting near you or next to you, behind you, in front of you. Now, it's not a rule that you have to look at the person that you came with. You can, it's okay. But you can spread out a little bit and meet somebody new. Now look at that individual and just say, oh my God. Oh my God. There is such power in you. There's such beauty in you. There's abundance and prosperity all in you. Transforming knowledge and creative intelligence is all in you. God is in you and wants to be set free. That you can make a mighty difference on this planet. And together we can change the world for the better. Let's be this. Let's do this. And so it is. Touch and agree. Feel the radiant, vibratory frequency of a coherent field of love and beauty and life. In that particular moment, and from the moment you began to walk across the campus at Agape, you were coming out from among them. You were coming out from the lesser frequencies of doubt and worry and separation. You were coming out from the lower octaves of thought forms that would have you be separated from the presence of God, or having your future heaven, or having your heaven be somewhere in the future. You've come out from among the superstitious thought, and you're standing in an awareness that the kingdom of heaven is at hand now. And that your moment of joy and celebration and singing and chanting and praying and meditating and hand-holding and high-fiving and affirming is a moment in which you're standing in the realm of ever-expanding good. The moment of heaven now. The ramifications of that is that your mind, which is an individualized expression of the only mind that there is, the mind of God, is now becoming programmed to be available to release life energy more than ever before, so that the structures of your life will become stabilized around harmony and elegance and beauty, prosperity, health, and well-being, not as an end game, but as a beginning step to the expression of your divinity and embracing the entire planet, that we as individuals and as a collective may lift the entire human race to a whole nother level of living. In other words, you are at the stage, as I like to teach, you're at the apex of one form of evolution and the beginning of another form of evolution. Animals and trees have reached their apex of evolution, and the rest of their evolution is going to be a very slow process based on nature, based on the climate, etc., etc., etc. But that's not true for you. You can embrace the next stage of your own evolution, and that's called transformation. So you have come not to be idly pulled by the winds of slow evolution. And if you were to wait for that, you'd be waiting a long time, because society is nuts. The vibrational turbulence of the old dying and the new rising, it's a bit chaotic. From a mystical point of view, we would say it is chaotic. And that is, the level of chaos is underneath the level of chaos is a level of order that's rising for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. But you are here at this stage of your evolution to participate in your own unfolding. That's why you pray. That's why you meditate. That's why you affirm. That's why you vision. And that's why you become still. That's why you practice your spiritual technologies, so that you are embracing the next stage of your unfolding and your evolution. And whenever you have a moment of coherence, a moment of high, you think you just received, you have an insight, you're riding high on something. That moment is a precursor to the next stage of your unfolding. It is not a high. It is a signal about what your next plateau will be. And you will say when you get there, I didn't do all this work just to get here. I've done all this work to keep going, to keep unfolding, to keep moving, because that's what heaven is. Heaven is ever expanding good. There's no point of arrival. You're only arriving at being a student perpetually, constantly open and available, activating the beginner's mind, because what stops transformation is the words, I know that. You want to stand in the awareness of there's so much I don't know. What I know is so small compared to the infinite that it keeps you humble, available, childlike, not necessarily childish, but childlike and available, so the great wind of the Holy Spirit can take you over and live its life through you continually. And then your bliss and your ecstasy comes from the activation of your infinite potential over and over and over again, you becoming more and never less than your true self. Therefore, when we hear the theme in which we began last week about rejoice and remember and renew, we come to an understanding, as I mentioned before, that rejoicing, as you've been doing today, rejoicing is an aspect of your spiritual practice. That you embrace rejoicing not as an aftermath or an afterglow of something wonderful that happens that would allow yourself to be victimized by circumstances. If you're only smiling after good things are happening, you're only living half a life. You want to rejoice in everything. You want to understand that underneath chaos, underneath change, there is a fundamental harmony of the universe that's untouched, untarnished at all. And as you train yourself to be in the rejoicing vibration, you'll notice that you'll be able to see the harmony and the order and the elegance and the abundance even when it is invisible to most. And you will hear the scripture that was read today, that even while you are yet praying, I've already answered. That will be the vibration that you hang out in. We're talking vibration here. Vibrational beings you are. And then you'll come to what is called recollection. Another word is remembering. You'll understand that you'll start to remember what your soul has never forgotten. It'll be a homecoming. It'll be like, oh, I remember this. It slipped my memory for a while, but I've come home to myself. And I am now remembering that I've never been forgotten by the Spirit, never been cut adrift, never been cut off, never been separated. Oh, I remember, even through the darkest moments of your human experience, there is an underlying light, a luminosity shot from the central flame of all creation that has never ever been snuffed out. You will remember that. And there will be a continual renewal of your life, a continual regeneration of who and what you are, physically, mentally, a subtle body. I'll always remember a Reverend Diane, a woman that used to attend here, now lives up in the area of Washington, and she had the privilege of working with a woman who had an accident in her garage. She was sawing something with the electric saw and cut off her fingers. And she called 3 of her fingers, and she called Reverend Diane. Diane rushed over and convinced her she could grow them back. She said, don't believe what the doctors are going to tell you. And we have the pictures. I'm going to bring them out. I'm going to look for them and put them up. But they have the pictures of her fingers growing back. She was admitted to UCLA, and nubs became actual whole fingers. She had a regeneration and a renewal, totally transcending what medical doctors would say to you, that you can't grow this back, you can't grow that back. Neurons, once they're gone, never grow back. Now we know that's a lie, that anybody who meditates and has proper nutrition, the very brain neurons begin to grow back again. And so just as this woman grew back her fingers, just as Mitchell May, the founder of Pure Synergy, grew back a new heel after he was thrown to a bus window, you can stand in the vitalizing feeling tone of regeneration. Mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, every area of your life can be regenerated because the source of all creation is untouched, untampered, unhindered by human experience. And when you draw from it, you don't deplete it at all. Oh, think about that. You're drawing from an inexhaustible source that is never depleted. This is why the Bhagavad Gita says you take abundance from abundance, and abundance still remains. This is your life at the stage of regeneration. But you got to practice. It's given to you, but your practice allows you to receive it. It's totally given all the time. But are you receiving? Are you available? Are you open? Are you receptive? Are you surrendered? Are you yielding? Are you allowing? Are you focused? Are you intentional? Are you prayerful? Are you meditative? Is your heart open? Oh, in that space, that which is untouched, untarnished, never depleted at every level, it is its joy to give you the kingdom. It is God's good pleasure to give it to you. The presence of God is like, oh my God, I want her. Let me in. I want to live my life as you. Come on, let me in. I want to live through and as you. I'm giving you everything. Will you receive me? Will you say yes? Will you be available? There it is. Rejoice, remember, and renew. Phew. Wholeness, health, eternality, and willingness. There is will you stand. Your perfect spiritual idea held in the mind of God that's untampered by time is a perfect idea of you whole and complete and perfect. That perfect idea contains your life as an eternal imprint in the mind of God. You are an eternal being. Eternal, healthy. That's the W, that's the H. The healthy, eternal, and willingness. Nothing can happen without your willingness. Spirit of God is not going to force. It's everywhere in its presence being itself, but there's no forcing. Sometimes through the universal laws, there's a little pushing of things that you set in motion. You think it's God on your case, but it's just you misusing the laws. And so you get pushed a little bit by the progressive universe. But in your willingness, everything is open. You're on a journey to your destiny. Everyone has a great destiny. Everyone has a gift. Everyone has a talent. Everyone has a reason for being. The Spirit of the living God doesn't ever have a meaningless act. And so your life, shot from eternity, is full of meaning. It's full of the presence of God according and scripted according to your perfect pattern, your uniqueness. So you're on a journey. You're on a journey to a great destiny. Destiny and fate are not the same things. Fate is what you meet when unresolved issues in your own soul become activated. You have a certain level of fate that takes place. But destiny is planted by God, and everyone has a great destiny. And so when we consider today perhaps being a Palm Sunday, and we consider the template, the living metaphor of Jesus the Christ, we consider his destiny as a mature being who realized his oneness with God. And we consider him on Palm Sunday riding a donkey into the land of Jerusalem. Hosanna singing around him, and crowds pressing in and upon him, and him going in and overthrowing the temple of the money changers. All of this is metaphorical, very mystical, and very metaphysical. Jesus as the mature being, the next stage of human evolution, one with God, but consciously one with God. Using the language of his day, consciously one with God. Riding to his destiny, riding to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the city of peace. So our destiny is to roll into the city of peace. Peace is the dynamic of harmonizing good. He's riding in on a donkey. That means he has subdued his lower nature. He has subdued the animalistic aspect of his life. This same metaphor is followed in Zen when we embrace and govern the ox. It's followed in Egypt with the Sphinx, in which the animal is at the base and the human is at the middle and the divine is shining out. That we've embraced and subdued the animalistic, materialistic, acquisitive, might makes right consciousness. All of that is subdued. And he's rolling into Jerusalem, and the crowds are pressing, and the crowds metaphysically mean those thoughts that are near us that are about to be transmuted into a higher frequency. You have thought forms pressing in and upon you all of the time. And when you begin to do your work, thoughts, being a unit of mental energy, begin to be transmuted. You may have a crowd of thoughts all around you right now, but you don't have to give in to them. You don't have to say yes to it. You have to, like Jesus, stay focused so that those crowds of thought become transmuted. You don't just give in to the thoughts that are there. Every thought is not equal to every other thought. Every thought is not to be believed just because it's in your mind. Every opinion is not to be expressed just because it's rolling through your awareness. All those thoughts that are pressing in, you are the master. When you're mature and you get to transmute that thought, you get to place your attention on peace, on the city of peace that's within you, and allow those thoughts to be transmuted in a very powerful way. And then you'll go through what is called a chemicalization. That is all of that stuff coming to surface to be transmuted. In the Bible, it's called throwing out the money changers from the temple. Your body temple, your mental body, your emotional body, all of the acquisitive nature and all of the getting and all of the fear and all of the conniving and the manipulation, all of that gets thrown out, gets dissolved, so that you're able to walk into Jerusalem and ultimately allow for the lesser self to be crucified, to be disassociated from you so that you can rise and allow for your real self, which is eternal, which is whole, which is absolutely beautiful, to express itself. You have arrived on earth. You have arrived in this country at this particular time in human history to go through that same inner process that you may make a mighty difference on this planet. This is your time. You're in a country that's simultaneously in 5 or 6 wars right now, and many citizens don't even know about it. The might makes right consciousness is still working its deal in the world. The bombing of Syria, as if that's going to really do anything, to change anything. And we see the pictures of kids being killed by that Syrian ruler. But I've seen some kids in Flint that don't have anything to drink and being killed and poisoned by our own government, and nobody's rushing in there to blow up the city hall to make sure those kids get water. Sometimes we got to just look at some things, and underneath there's some things that need to be changed. You see, some priorities need to be stripped. But it begins with you. It begins with individuals who are becoming conscious. And so that the last days of the old paradigm of might makes right must come to an end, or we're all not going to be here to celebrate in this human body anymore. One country does one thing, Russia does something else, America does something else, without the permission of Congress, by the way. Next thing you know, you're in a mega war, and that is not the destiny of humanity. The destiny of humanity is mediation. The destiny of humanity is conversation. The destiny of humanity is pray. The destiny of humanity is what do we have in agreement. But somebody has to rise up at that level in consciousness. And so we who are walking into the city of peace, we who are working with the crowds in our own mind and transmuting those thoughts into a higher frequency. We who are subduing the animalistic nature of acquisitiveness and defense and coping and might makes right. We have to stand as a powerful bulwark against the dynamic of the downward spiral of negativity that's been called business as usual and status quo. Do you realize you have not arrived here to participate in the status quo? Do you know that? You've got to know that. You have not walked here to walk lockstep in status quoism. As I've mentioned before, mediocrity embraces status quo, and mediocrity revolts against the magnificence of your soul. And so you are not here to be mediocre. You're here to be excellent. And then, everyone is not to do the same thing, but you have to find what you're to do at this time in human history, where this old pattern is breaking up and being very loud as it's dying, and the new pattern is emerging. You've got to find what you're to do, where you are in your life. What are you going to do to help people walk into the city of peace? What are you going to do? What is your giftedness? And don't think for a moment that your little life is insignificant. What can I do against all this stuff that's going on the planet? We have individuals, Coptic churches that have been bombed, and individuals that have been killed based on religious bigotry and human ignorance. What are we supposed to do about all of that? You are to bloom where you are planted. That whatever your gift is, please understand on a mystical quantum level, that if you are in your backyard and you come to an insight about your oneness with God, and you birth an idea that's going to make something better in the world, that little tiny act is not little in the mind of God. Quantumly, it goes over the whole planet. You might think you're just doing one, I'm going to help this one person, I'm going to do this one little thing. But that one little thing carries the entire cosmos. And it begins to change the noosphere of the planet. If 2 of you get together, 3 of you get together, holding space, community get together, holding the possibility for a world that works for the highest and best within us all, and then that's followed by actions according to our giftedness, actions according to our skills, actions according to the cultivation of that which was within us. Oh my God, there will be a renaissance of a mighty love on this planet. Do you realize that when the Renaissance was happening, people weren't saying, oh, we're having a Renaissance? They didn't know. They were just doing what was called in front of them. The creative urgency of the moment brought out all manner of creativity, and looking back on it, people say, oh, that was a Renaissance. Well, you're in one right now. You're in one right now. And so don't fall prey to the media thinking or showing that you can't do anything. You're in a renaissance of power. You have a smartphone that has more capacity than the astronauts had when they went to the moon the first time. You can take that and create memes of possibility. You can do so much if you ask the question, how can I turn the crowd that's in my mind constantly talking? How can I raise it to a different frequency? How can I allow this Palm Sunday of my own soul as a preparation to the crucifixion of that which no longer serves me to extend into a great chorus of magnificence? Oh, ask the question if you dare. Ask the question of what's trying to emerge in your life if you dare. Now remember that little gap between where you have evolved to at this moment and calling forth your next stage of evolution, that little gap right there, that's called transformation. You are going to change. You are going to be different. And though the egoic structure is saying, oh no, we're good here. That's called hell. Hell is stagnation. Heaven is unfoldment. The kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of unfoldment, the kingdom of ever-expanding good, the kingdom of evolution, the kingdom of you becoming more yourself is at hand now. There must be a willingness. There must be an availability. There must be an intention. There must be a yes. And then absolutely everything else will be added unto you. Yes, your needs will be met. Yes, your body can regenerate. Yes, all needs will be met at every level of your existence because you're in the field of expanding good. Oh, say it. I'm in the field of expanding good. Now say it this time like you really mean it. I'm in the field of expanding good. I'm in heaven. I'm in the field of expanding good. I'm in heaven. I'm becoming more myself. I'm raising the crowds of my mind to a higher frequency. I am subduing my acquisitive appetite. I am freeing my mind. I'm freeing my mind. I'm rejoicing in the Spirit. I rejoice now. Somebody shout about it. Somebody feel it. And so we just come to an understanding that as we're holding those that were killed in the Coptic churches in prayers, we're holding those who were killed in Syria by their own government, as we're holding our people in Flint, and we're holding people all around the nation that are going through all manner of suffering. We're inviting for a shifting of priority from might makes right to compassion. As a global society, you may have noticed that we're slowly moving from the John Wayne swagger to the Dalai Lama smile. It's a shift that has been occurring over the last 20 or so years, where compassion is now a conversation, where it wasn't before. Old paradigm trying to snuff it out, but life will win. Life wins. There is an idea that's trying to be born. That idea is a kind and just global society for everyone. There's an idea that's trying to be born, that borders may delineate countries, but don't delineate the borders between our hearts. There's an idea trying to be born of communion and communication and compassion and working together. There's an idea that's trying to be born. It begins in our own heart and the work that we have to do on ourselves. You don't have to work on anybody else but yourself. If you just work on yourself, your hands will be full. It's all just, if you want to change the world, change you. And then go out and do some work. So I invite you to take a holy breath right here. Release. As we love to do here from time to time, take an inhale and spin the breath at the apex and catch any insight that you may have had this morning, whether it was through a song, an affirmation, or reading this particular message, wherever the insight came. Feel into that insight. Maybe you got insight around abundance, you got insight around love, you got an insight around health. But feel that your needs are met right now. Now release with the sound of ah, ah. So that your nervous system is now coming and complementing your affirmation. Your nervous system is now recalibrating itself into a higher frequency. So that as we affirm and as we pray, we're not working against ourselves. There's not frequencies of fear that are lodged within the nervous system that are preventing our affirmations and our prayers from manifesting. Now we're all in alignment. Now the surface mind doesn't like this. The surface mind is into survival. And survival makes you develop certain reactions in the world where you're not going to be happy unless all your ducks are in a row. No, metaphysically, you have to be happy first, then the ducks come in a row. You see? And it's difficult. It's a practice. It's a practice. It's a practice. Rejoice, remember, and renew. It's a practice. And so we turn within at this moment. Feel that, sense into that sacred silence, that perfect stillness. And it is in this consciousness of the sacred that what wells up from the very depth of our being is a pure sense of thankfulness for being alive, for being awake, for being aware, for existence itself. We're so grateful that we exist. We're so grateful that we're here. There are people around the world that would love to be sitting right where you're sitting, not dodging drones and landmines and looking for food and water and ducking bombs and not having enough to eat. There are people that would love to be sitting right here. Love to be in a worshipful community where you could actually say something like, I'm one with God, and not be shot for saying it. You would love to be in a place where there's diversity and inclusivity and Christians and Buddhists and Muslims and all manner of people can just be together and praise the presence. People would just love to be in a place like this. So we don't take any of this for granted. We become grateful and thankful. And because we can pray this way, and because we can meditate, we must. We must, for all the beings who can't. For all the beings who can't do this, we must do it for the unfoldment of our species. And so we segue from gratitude to recognizing the presence. We know it, we see it, we recognize the presence in our breath, the beating of our heart. We recognize the presence in the people sitting all around us. We recognize the presence in our highest thought right now. And become so unified with the life of God that we can say unabashedly, I am what thou art, and thou art what I am. And the words spoken from this awareness, oh, it's a law. It doesn't tarry with yesterday. It's unconcerned about obstacles or hindrances. It doesn't even know it. It only knows its own fulfillment. The grass that's breaking through the cement doesn't know anything about the cement. It only knows the light that it is moving towards. This law is exactly the same. It doesn't know about human experience. It only knows its own fulfillment, spoken with the authority of one knowing that all that there is God. Body temples, be whole. Mental bodies, be clear. Emotional bodies, be pure. Body of our affairs, reveal the sacred order of the universe. Reveal the sacred order of the universe. And that all, not some, all of our needs are met. That we may be the champions of peace, the harbingers of love, the ambassadors of creativity, right use of imagination. Oh, imagine the swords are being turned into plowshares. Imagine. A world. that is the city of peace. It's not going to come until we can imagine it, have conversations about it, walk in that direction. Come, Holy Spirit, take over our life. Take over our life. We do embrace the wonderful people that is gassed in Syria and all over the world. We do embrace the people in our own country that are becoming imprisoned more and more and more. Other cities that don't have running water and drinking water. We got work to do. And so we bless. 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 Thank you, baby. And so we bless.
Star up above and star below. Star in the sky and dreams that grow. Holy designer, lighten and lead me. Love and conceive me in darkness and light. Star up above and star below. Star in my mind and dreams that grow. Holy designer, lighten and lead me. Love and conceive me. Strengthen and breathe me in darkness and light. Through darkness and light. In darkness and light.
If you'll be so kind as to take the hand of the being next to you, we continue to amplify the field of prayer, knowing that these individuals are touched by the frequency of our high resolve.